Hey,
Hey,
mama.
mamas.
I don't know if that was enough for or not. My phone's off.
All right, no, it's fine. Welcome to Momprehension, the podcast. We're so excited to have you.
We are. We've had a rough week. My family lost our beloved pet, our cat, PJ, this week. So we're going to talk a little bit about bereavement with children and families and how to get through that. And
Yep.
if you are an expert on the matter, please write in because I probably did it all wrong.
And then we're gonna have some fun at the end with some riddles because I'm dumb.
Just two moms on a mission to comprehension.
You remember how I said, like, we all have that chore that we just hate?
Yeah.
And like for me, it's putting a new trash bag in the trash can. I will do anything to avoid taking the 5 seconds it takes to open my under sink cabinet and pulling out a
Yeah.
trash bag, which is right there, and putting it in the trash. So the other day I had like an empty cereal box that I was using as my trash so that I wouldn't have to replace the trash bag. So, I was just dumping the little stuff in there. And I went to, I can't remember what it was. I think like coffee grounds or something that I went to pour out. But instead of pouring it in the empty cereal box, I poured it in a fresh cereal box full of cereal. So I
Oh
was like,
my
really all this
gosh.
just so I don't have to like it's literally a 10-second
Now
job.
you've just made, well, you are gonna throw out that cereal box, or you just made yourself more time because you're gonna try and scoop up.
Right. Coffee grounds, used coffee grounds from my, and it's a 10-second thing. So I just thought, I think we all have like that job that
Oh
we
yeah.
hate, like that chore that we hate. So that's mine. Taking the trash bag out and putting it up takes 10 seconds.
Oh
Seriously.
yeah. I hate chores, period. That's why
Some I like. Like
what?
I love to clean the kitchen. I love to do the dishes because
Ew, barf. I don't want to do any of that.
really, oh, see, but for me, it's my quiet time. I send the kids out of the room because I'm doing something boring and I like play my podcast and I'm just alone doing mindless work. That's fine for me. It's
I
like,
mean, I ended up hiring a maid because I was like, if I have to clean this shower one more time,
yeah,
I'm gonna scream.
yeah.
The shower is the worst thing to clean.
Really, the shower?
If you have like a big shower like that, like yeah, like yours and mine, like those are such a pain. Like you're
Oh, see,
literally on your hands and knees.
I just clean mine when I'm in there. It's an excuse. I don't mind cleaning the shower. I go in there and take my shower and I clean it while I'm in there. I don't mind it.
No, I don't.
Isn't that funny though? Like we all have our thing. I also hate vacuuming and mopping.
See that
Mopping,
I don't mind
mopping
that.
more than vacuuming. I hate.
Really? That's just like a whatevs to me. It's like, yeah, it's got to get done. I'll do it. Like folding clothes. I'll put the clothes in the laundry, put them from
Mm-hmm.
the wash to the dryer. I don't care about all that. Folding them
Really? Now, see,
because
I
most of
love
them
folding clothes
no,
because you can just
because
park yourself in front of the TV and it's an excuse to just like sit. When else do you get an excuse to sit for 15 minutes and just watch TV as a mom?
because
Never.
I don't bring mine out to the living room like that. Like I always end up sitting
Oh,
on the floor outside of my like laundry room and I'm folding and I have like 800 different piles of clothes because my husband has so many t-shirts that I swear I think he has one for every day of the year.
okay.
So it's like I have a pile for his t-shirts and a pile for his pants and then a pile for Ezra's shirts and a pile for Ezra's pants. And let's not forget his socks and underwears separated
Oh,
from my socks and underwear, separated from Ezra's socks. No, I just can't. No,
so
it's
funny because I love folding. Well, I don't have like a lot of energy. It's just been a week.
yeah, how was
Uh,
your I mean,
I mean, it's
it's been
fine.
rough.
The way it happened just sucked because it was like, first of all, he's a kid I've had longer than any other. Like, I moved to Mount Dora, and he literally a week after I moved came running into my house. He like just came out of
Oh,
nowhere running in. And he's just been like my baby. He was like my favorite. I'm
yeah.
more of a cat person than a dog person. Um, and out of our three cats, he was my favorite. He was mine. So it was just all out of the blue. He just kind of slowed down on eating and was not acting weird. And I called the vet, and we made an appointment for like later in the week. And now I know that if I'd taken him in right away, possibly there may have been a different outcome, because it's one of those things that like by the time he got there, he was, I mean, they literally
Oh
told me at the
no.
vet, they were like, prognosis is so poor, like 10% chance. But of course, I was going to do everything I could because I felt
Yeah.
guilty. So I take him to the hospital, which, you know what I mean, thousands
Right.
of dollars later,
hmm
and he stays there. And I'm getting updates several times a day.
What
And
did they
at
say? What
first
was it? Like,
so they don't really know exactly what it boils down to. Probably there was some problem with his liver.
okay.
But by the time I took him in, he was jaundiced, like
Oh.
yellow jaundice. They call it icteric. Anyway, but like even the vet tech didn't notice, because you have to like, he's a black cat. You have to like part the hair. He had yellow eyes anyway. Now, after they pointed it out, then I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. His eyes are like glowing yellow, and like his
Um,
skin is like bright yellow, like a highlighter. But you know what I mean? Like,
it's hard to see that on a darker animal.
on it, yeah, you have to like look for it. I didn't even know it was a thing. And it was the week that Parker was gone, cat sitting his parents. It was the first week Andy was working nights, so it was me doing so it was just one of those weeks where like I wasn't as aware of everything going on around me. So of course all that comes in guilt later. I'm like, oh,
The
anyway. But
self-guilt, yes. But
yeah,
I mean, to be honest, what would they have done? Like put him on some sort of
well,
liver
they did all that.
dialysis and,
I don't know exactly what they could have done. The big thing was he stopped eating, which forces their body into that jaundice
oh,
state.
okay.
And then he was so far gone by the time they saw him that they were like, you can try. So they put him on IV fluids, and they were literally tube feeding him because now he feels sick, so he doesn't want to eat.
Yeah.
And that kicks him even further in. So like they're tube feeding him. And at first he looked a little better, and then he was stagnant. So I said, how much, this was after like 2 days. So I was like, how long do we do this? How will we know it's working? And the doctor said, if he is not better by tomorrow morning, then I would say he's not going to get better. And so I said, okay, I don't want him to die there. I want to pick him up, bring him home, and I'll have someone come to my house and do it there. And she said, that's a great idea. That's exactly what I would recommend. So for 24 hours, I'm like, please God, praying and everything.
Just
And
make
then
it. Oh.
the next morning, they're supposed to call at 8 a.m. And my plan was to go there no matter what. Even if they said he's getting better, I was going to go and visit him. But they said they'll call at 8 a.m. Well, they never call. I call at 9, and they say they're still making their rounds. They'll call you back. Well, I didn't want to hop in the shower to go down there because I'm waiting for the call. And I knew as soon as I got in the shower,
The
I'd get the
call.
call. So finally, I literally hop in the shower at 10. Of course, my phone rings, and the doctor immediately says, Cynthia, PJ just went into cardiac arrest.
Oh.
And so then I'm thinking, that was the one thing I didn't want, was for him to die alone after being away from us for 3 or 4 days. And if I just gotten up and gotten in the shower and driven down there, I could have been with him when it happened.
Oh, yeah.
All that. And you can't do that to yourself.
You really can't.
No. So it was stinky.
I
Let's
know.
get,
I'm sorry that happened to you though. Like I felt so
nah,
bad.
I mean, it stinks.
And how do you
So,
deal with the kids with loss? Like like Ezra one day, I don't know where he learned about death, or even if he even knows what death is, because he was like, Mommy, I don't want you and Dada to die and leave me forever. And I'm like, where did you get this from? And then the other day, like a few days after that, there was like a spider or something. And I was like, no.
yes.
I wonder where he got that idea from. Me,
Right.
I mean, but what do you say when you kill a spider? You're killing it, like
Right.
kaput. He's gone.
I think a lot of it depends on the kids. Lucas at 3, he's not even an animal person. So like he's still like he's not into it. So he could care less. He wouldn't even notice. Parker, the 18-year-old, he's had this cat since he was 6. So he's obviously suffering in his way, but he at least understands, and he was able to like see the good, he understands. Daniel at 6, this is the second pet we've lost. We lost our dog 2 years ago, and he was old enough to like notice, but not old enough to understand. He didn't understand well, why can't they come back? Because that concept, I mean, that's hard for adults to understand, like how something or someone can just be gone forever. Well, where'd they go? And so he had an easier time this time because we went through all that with Clarice, our dog. But for a while, he wanted to go dig Clarice up in the backyard because, you know what I mean? Well, let's go get her. Let's go dig her up.
Yeah.
And I think and we
not
had to
realizing it's like not yeah.
Right. And then when I explained, well, here, you know what I mean? The body's breaking down. Then it was, well, what does that look like? Let's go dig around. Let's go look. Just a curiosity.
Mom.
Yeah.
Worms.
And the whole thing, the hardest thing for me is like we were praying that our cat would get better. And he kept saying, well, let's just pray for her. Let's pray for her. Like as if praying that he would get, or pray for him, as if praying for him was like a guarantee that he'd get better. And it's not.
So there's another lesson to learn.
Yeah, because it's like, we believe, if you have a faith or whatever, like you can pray, but you don't always get what you're praying for.
Right.
Either. And so like, how do we handle that? Like, well, why didn't God make him feel better? I don't know. And that whole thing. So at our house, we just try to make it not scary. It was like, okay, PJ, he was old. He was like 100 years old, because cats are so much, which he really wasn't, but I didn't want him to be like, oh, he was like 80, and because he knows 80-year-old people,
oh gosh, oh,
that's
that's
the other
scary,
thing, and I tried explaining, oh, he's sick, but like little kids don't recognize the difference between when they get a cold and they're sick,
sick
and like sick. So I explained that like it's not the kind of sick that like you catch. It's not the kind of sick like when you get a cold and you don't feel good. It's like his body was sick and it wasn't going to get better. It's a different kind of sick. So there's just all these things that like you hope they understand, and you hope they're not secretly afraid
internalizing something.
Like, oh, I get sick, or when people get old they're gonna die, or mommy, am I gonna die? And then how do you answer that question?
I haven't gotten,
one day you will.
I haven't gotten that one yet. Let me tell you, we were in St. Augustine this past weekend, and how they have like cannons there, like the fake cannons or whatever, and he was like, a cannon, and just bolted and just started running across the street, didn't care. Like we caught him right before he crossed the street. There was a car and everything. Like my heart was like,
oh my gosh,
like he almost got hit by a car. And like with that, at that point in time, we had to be like, if you would have got hit by that car, you may have not seen mommy and daddy ever again. Like, like how else do you tell him, like, you can die, like don't do that, or you can die. I don't know how else to explain that. Like maybe our viewers can help me out.
It's hard.
I've had the conversation with him 100 times. Look both ways. Oh, look, we're at a street. Look both ways. Okay, mommy, there's no cars. All right, now we can go. But when it's like, oh, there's a cannon over there.
Yeah, they get,
you know,
and it speaks of their innocence that they are not yet aware of all the dangers like in the world, because you get to a certain age and you realize that there's danger, and that you start to be careful, and that's good, and that you learn to protect yourself. But it's also sad that I mean, how great it would be if all of us just could be like little innocent kids and think, oh, everything's great all the time. And even the same thing with like stranger danger, because it's like you don't want them to be afraid of people.
Right.
You don't want them to, because, you know, my 5-year-old, a stranger says, "Hey, how are you?" And he'll just like not talk, like almost to the point of being embarrassing, where
Yeah.
it's like, say hi or whatever. But then yet at the same time, we tell them not to talk to strangers.
Yeah. But
And,
then there's my kid that if they're like, you want to go to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, he'd be like, yeah, let's
oh
go.
yeah, you got a truck with candy? Yes,
Yeah, we
please.
got a puppy in there? What? I'll take
Yeah,
it.
no, you're right. He would.
Yeah, he would.
Like your
'Cause
kid is
he's
like,
super
he'd go with
social.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's, yeah, it's,
You know what
it's
though?
hard.
I think he's just more comfortable when I'm around because I feel like if I wasn't around,
But yeah,
he would.
he's a mama's boy. So
Yeah, I
you
feel
make
like.
him feel safe.
Yeah, I feel like if I wasn't around another person, he'd kind of be a little bit like, "Where's mommy?" You know, like
Yeah.
if mommy says,
Hopefully.
"I."
Have you ever seen those shows? They used to do it like
Yes,
on, I don't know if it was Dateline or whatever, where
yes,
like
where the guy would
parents
go
are like,
up.
our kids would never go with a stranger. And then here they are getting in the truck.
Yes,
I think little kids, honestly, like, I think if you said the right thing, most little kids would
most of
get,
them would probably.
yeah, just because they are innocent and because they don't realize what could happen. So you could figure out something to say
Right.
to get
Yeah,
them
yeah.
to want to get in your car.
True. Yeah. I mean,
It's just
you could
terrifying.
probably say something to me. You said the right things. Right? Like if you said the right things, I'd be like,
1 week's
"Hmm."
vacation at a spa.
So do you do this every time your kid gets sick? Are you like T-minus 2 days before I feel like crap? Like,
I don't have like a countdown. I have other mom friends who do, but I assume that I will probably get sick when all my kids are sick. At the same time, I'm normally the last person in the house who gets sick. And if anyone is going to get through, you know, the bug without getting sick, it's me. And I just I think I feel like moms just can't get sick. So I just feel like it's our body's natural way of like not getting sick. Because, and
that's
then
not
there
true.
have
I
been,
don't have that gene.
oh, I feel like I do. There have been 2 times that I legitimately like had the flu, and only knew it because like I had like a little bit of a cold kind of thing and thought, man, this is lasting a while. Like, oh, why am I still coughing, you know, a week later? And then took my kids to the doctor and realized that they had the flu. So I'm like, oh, well, no wonder I have the flu because they're like super, super sick and I'm like a little stuffy.
That happened to me
So
once. And
yeah.
the doctor literally was like, when I took Ezra in, he's like looking at me, he's like, "How are you feeling?" And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, he get like I started it a few days ago, but I think it's like a sinus infection." And he's like, "You got a flu face." Like he
Mm-hmm.
literally, he's like, I could
How funny.
tell by the parents when they bring him in. He's like, "You got a flu face." He's like, "I'm gonna test him for the flu," and sure enough, he had the flu, and he was like, "That means
Wow.
you got the flu
Yeah.
too," you know. And I was like,
But see,
"Oh
it didn't
wow."
affect you the same way. You just thought it was like a sinus infection or something. I really do think it's our defense because like we have to take care of everybody else. So if mom goes down, not to say I never go down, but when I do, it's rough. Last time I had COVID, it affected me, nausea,
Yeah,
and like to even literally turn my head, my whole body wave of nausea. If I'd had my kids, if I'd had to take care of them, they would have been on their own. I couldn't have done it. I just could not have done it. But like, that's very rare that I am so sick that I'm like, sorry guys, you are on your own. You know where the pantry is? Like,
yeah.
feed yourself. You know,
That
that's
sounds pretty
very rare.
good. Like when I say like mommy does not feel good, like he'll
Yeah.
just lay in the bed with me, which is nice. But as of
Oh,
right
that is
now,
nice.
he's the one who's not feeling good.
Yeah.
So it's gonna come to a point where he's feeling fine and I'm gonna still be feeling like poop. And I'm like, oh great,
Oh,
here we go. That's the rough part. Is when the kids
yeah.
are better and running around and you're the one who's still sick and you're like, please just stop. Just I just want to lay down. Like
Yeah. I've been lucky in that. That rarely happens.
Oh,
But I will hope that you avoid it this time.
fingers crossed, but I don't think
Fingers
so.
crossed. I'm the primary caretaker. Like, it is my full-time job to
True.
take care of these kids. So I can generally look at the kids or touch them
Exactly.
and be like, something's wrong.
Yes.
Like, just because I know what the normal is. But I think that I think women just in general, I don't think it's a stay-at-home mom thing. I don't think it's a crunchy mom thing. I don't think it's a working mom thing. I think we just like know our kids. Like, we just do. We just, something's different.
He
But I can do the same
always.
thing with my husband. I can look at him and be like, something's not right.
Oh,
Sometimes I'll be
you
like, hey, you
know.
need to take a nap. Like,
You know before they know. Like I always know when my
oh
husband's
yeah,
gonna throw up. Always. He's like, I'm
oh
fine.
yeah,
I'm like, no, you're gonna throw up. I already know it.
yeah.
I can tell.
hmm So yeah, me too. Be like, so I just think we're like
Grab the bucket.
intuitive creatures. Yeah,
Grab the bucket. You're gonna puke tonight. I
intuitive
feel
creatures.
fine.
And then
Okay.
he throws up. You
Yeah.
witch! How did you know that? We would have been burned at the stake back in the day with all
Right.
this knowing.
I know. He calls me a witch anyway because like, or what does he call it? He goes, go do the mom thing where you make it appear. Because whenever you send them to go look for something and
Oh
they
yeah.
can never find it, but then you go in 3 seconds, you're just like, it's right here. You know?
Every time,
Every
everybody in my
time.
house.
Yeah. Doesn't
Mom, where's
matter.
this? Where's that? Where's it could be like right there. You know, they've done studies though that have shown that literally men's brains don't see it. Like,
So,
if you
and
take a
you've
shelf,
got 4 in your house.
oh yeah, all boys. So like, you literally take a shelf and put the ketchup right in the middle and then be like, find the ketchup, and they can't see it. Whereas like and I can't remember the psychology behind it. I can't remember the why, but it's just been proven that it can be right in front of them and they can't see it. Whereas like, I'll be like, oh yeah, such and such. It's under the blanket on the left side of the sofa, right by the towel. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what do you mean
And
you
it's
can't find it?
and it's not even like this is the place where it always goes. It's like that's the last place I saw
Please, I
it.
saw it. Yeah, I
So I
saw
know
it.
it's there. Like,
Yeah. And
yeah.
guys, here's the ketchup, and they cannot find it. Where's the
Yeah, Ezra does the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't find my cup. It's in the bedroom on your little table thing. Where, mommy? Where? I can't find it.
Oh.
Ezra, by the way, his latest thing is driving me crazy. I can't, mommy. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Oh.
And it's like he says it because he thinks if he's scared, I won't make him do it because he's scared. So
Lucas is doing it too,
oh my gosh, maybe it's
but he
Ezra
does
who
it
did it to you.
differently. He does it differently. Like today, I was listening to a podcast, and he wanted, while I was doing dishes, my me time, and he came into the room and wanted me to turn the podcast off so that he could watch something on the Google thing. And he came into the room and goes, Mommy, Google. And I was like, no, Mommy's listening to something. He goes, oh, it's scary. And I'm like, okay. Like, he'd been in the room 2 seconds. They hadn't said it. It was on a commercial. Like, yes, it was true crime. And I wouldn't have let him listen to it. But he didn't know it was true crime and it was scary. Because he'll do that same thing. I'll like pick a movie. Oh, let's watch Finding Nemo. No, it's scary. Let's watch this.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
so
he
they
did it the
know.
other day, and over here he was like, "It's scary, mommy, it's scary." We had to like change it
Yeah.
to Blippi or something because it's just because
Yeah.
he didn't want to watch that.
Yeah, they know that like we'll protect them from the things that they're scared of, because there are sometimes where something is scary on TV, or a scene from a movie will scare them or something, and I don't make him watch stuff if he finds it scary.
Yeah, well, there are certain times where he's like, "I'm scared," and I can tell that he's like scared,
Yeah.
But then, don't tell me you're scared of brushing your teeth, though. I'm scared of what? Brushing my teeth. No, you're not.
Yeah. Oh.
I
I can't go to school. I'm scared. Brushing your teeth.
no,
That's
yeah,
funny.
I'm
Yeah.
scared. I can't go to school. Why? I'm scared. No, you're not. You just don't want to go, or you want me
That's
to
funny.
go with you. So
That's funny.
I
Yeah.
have to be
They're
like,
smart. They're smart.
oh yeah.
Speaking of smart, my husband found my Kindle, and apparently it had like kids' riddles in it, and I got every
Mom
single
brain.
one except for one right. So let me ask you, see if you
Oh
know. 'Cause
God, I'm horrible at
no,
riddles.
my husband was like, you cheated. You looked at, and I'm like, I didn't even know I had this on here. So name 2 days of the week that start with T that aren't Tuesday or Thursday.
2 days of the week that start with T.
So name 2 days that start with T that aren't Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, 2 days that start with T that aren't Tuesday and Thursday. It's gotta be a holiday or something. Tootsies. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Do you give up?
Yeah, I'm horrible at riddles.
Today and tomorrow.
Oh, barf. Okay.
Okay, let
All
me
right.
give you another one.
All right.
What are 2 things you cannot eat for breakfast?
My mind went totally bad. I was like, people and okay, 2 things you can't eat. Lunch and dinner.
Yes.
Yes. All right, cool.
Okay, here's the one I did not get. What's a room that you can eat?
A room that you can eat?
Mm-hmm.
Hope it's not the bathroom.
No.
It's got to be the name of a food, right? Like it's a name of a food that has room in it. A Roomba mushroom. I don't know.
A mushroom. Yeah, a mushroom.
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 Oh, look at that.
I didn't get that one. There were a couple others that I can't remember, but they were all like along those lines, and I got every single one of them. And my husband was like, "You've read this book." No, I haven't. It's just
Yes, I
what
have
can you
read
not
it.
eat for breakfast? I don't know. Lunch and dinner.
I've read it and memorized it inside and out.
In preparation for the day that you would randomly pick it up and quiz me. Like, so anyway.
On my Kindle.
Yeah. Really, honey, you wouldn't have, if you'd like just thought about them, you wouldn't have gotten it. There were, I wish I could think of the other ones. I can't remember it, but they were like all along those lines.
Oh, that's fun. That sounds,
yeah.
You could probably do those with like Parker. Do you think that you could do them with Daniel? You think Daniel would be?
He would not necessarily guess them, probably. But like, okay, so one I do with the ones I do with Daniel, what's the best day to go to the beach? He says, Sunday. What's the best day to do math?
Okay.
Tuesday. Good. What's the best day to fly a kite? Wednesday. What's the best day to get a drink? Thursday. What's the best day to have a hamburger? Friday. What's the best day to take a rest?
Best
Saturday.
day to have a hamburger is Friday.
Friday. The only one I can't think of a good one is, I think I said, what's the best day to go to the bank? Monday. That's the only one that like I couldn't think of like a good one, but
Monday.
yeah.
Monday.
So now I'll make those up, but I'll make them like I try to teach him like those things.
Just cute little ones like that.
Yeah, where you have to like think.
Yeah.
So he's getting pretty good. All you have to do is like just think. These are not like hard.
No, my husband's the best at riddles, and he'll always like ask me, and I'm like, I told you I'm not good at these.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one.
I'm a math person.
Oh, well then, okay, if an egg and a half cost a cent and a half, how much does a dozen and a half cost?
If an egg and a half costs a cent and a half,
Mm-hmm.
so like 0.015 for like an egg and a half?
If an egg and a half.
Why would you buy a half an egg?
Okay, it's a riddle. let's not get literal. My computer's about to die. But if an egg and a half cost
Sorry.
$1.50, how much does a dozen and a half cost?
Okay, so there's 12 eggs in a dozen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 12 divided by 1.5 eggs is 8. Am I doing this wrong? Am I not? Am I thinking too hard? Wait,
You're
and
thinking
then
too hard. So every egg costs a cent. If you have an egg and a half, and
right.
that cost $1.50, then an egg cost 1 cent. So how much does a dozen and a half eggs cost? 18. And
I
a
feel
half.
dumb. I can't do this.
No, you're not dumb. You're just thinking too hard. All right, I got one more for you. This one I know you'll get. You probably heard it before. A doctor gets a call
Okay.
that their son was in an accident. They get to the hospital
Uh-huh.
and start working on their son. The doctor is not the patient's dad. Who's the doctor?
Oh, is the doctor the nurse?
So the doctor gets a call that their son was in an accident.
Oh,
So
the
they
doctor
go-
gets a call, the son, and so they go.
The doctor's son was in an accident. They go to the
Uh-huh.
hospital and start working on their son. The doctor is not the patient's father. Who is the doctor?
The grandfather?
The patient's mother, maybe?
Oh, wow.
Just two moms on a mission.
Yeah. Not only am I dumb, I'm also sexist, apparently.
And on that note, folks,
Yeah. On that
write in your
note,
favorite.
apparently,
Write in your favorite riddles and see if we can get them.
yeah. Apparently, I don't know math, and I also don't think about moms.
Doesn't believe that women can be doctors. So
Don't believe
you know.
women. I don't believe women could be doctors. Absolutely not. Okay.
So we had no interruptions this week. Interruption
did.
counter 0. What?
No, we totally did. Ezra interrupted me like 3 times. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you know any riddles that you can stump Cynthia on, because apparently you can stump me on any riddles, let us know down in the comments.
You
And
got
also,
mushroom. That's the one I didn't get.
I got mushroom.
You got the one I didn't get, which just proves that like we are a good team. Your strengths are my weaknesses and vice versa.
There you go. But that math one, I'm still thinking about it. My math brain is going crazy. I'm like, but 12 divided by 1.5 is 8. And then, so that would be 8 cents. And then,
Okay, but an egg and a half. So
Go.
I'll finish.
go.
Egg and a half an egg cost $1 and a half a cent. How much
Yeah.
does a dozen and a half a dozen cost?
Oh, a dozen and a half a dozen.
Well, yeah, a dozen and a half.
Oh my gosh.
An egg and a half.
I always thought it
cost
was a
cent and half.
dozen. I wasn't listening. This is the problem with riddles. I don't
You
listen.
you thought it was a dozen?
Yes.
An egg and a half cost $1 and a half. How much does a dozen and a half cost?
Oh, wow. See, that's why I'm not good at riddles. I don't listen. I'm not a good listener.
Clearly not. That's like an important part.
That's an important.
How'd you think I got to 18 then?
That's why I was so confused, Cynthia.
Okay.
That's why I said,
Think about
I'm still trying to think about this. Like, why is this not working?
Go back and make sure I actually said a dozen and a half and didn't just like hear it in my head.
No,
Maybe I didn't say it right.
No, you probably did. I wasn't listening.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
whatever. Anyhow, yeah. If you have any good riddles for Cynthia, not me, because I'm not good, obviously.
Clearly.
And also any ideas on bereavement for kids. If you're even a specialist, let us know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. All right. It was good talking with you today.
Bye, you too.
Bye.
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 Comprehension.
I love you, Mommy.